Welcome back to Star or Shovelware and to a new Dollar Deals episode, the series where I select 5 eShop deals, all priced around a few dollars at most, and then put them through the paces to see whether or not they're worth a purchase. Now, all of the games in this series go on sale at most every couple of months, but most are monthly if not weekly, so be sure to check out my previous Dollar Deals episodes to see what you've missed. With that said though, drop a like if you enjoy this video, subscribe for more in the series as well as weekly game reviews, and let's get into it. So I'm always up for finding new and interesting shmups to play, and going by the eShop screenshots of this one, I was under the assumption that SKYPEACE was exactly that. However, after getting into the game, I realised that I was completely wrong. Instead, SKYPEACE is more of a score-chasing dodge 'em up, and by that I mean the objective in the game is to collect coins and avoid enemies and obstructions, and in a way it kind of reminded me of Jetpack Joyride without the jetpack or machine gun. Gameplay though couldn't be simpler. You select from one of 2 characters, neither of which actually have any impact on the gameplay, and you're then dropped into an auto-scrolling level where the controls consist of holding a direction to move your character between the top, centre and bottom of the play area. As you fly through these zones at high speed, you simply need to move to collect coins and avoid enemies, building up a combo meter as you do, which acts as a score multiplier, but which is broken whenever you take damage. And the enemy variety is relatively decent, but most of them just serve as obstructions. Now, to add a little bit of depth to the gameplay, you're able to grab pickups along the way, including shields which protect you from a single hit, gems which add to your score, and once per level your partner will pop in to drop a pickup which causes you to collect and destroy everything in your path for a while. And you do get the occasional booster pad which lets you kill enemies but increases your flight speed considerably, making things even tougher. But that's about it, that's the gameplay loop in its entirety. Levels last for around 5 minutes at most, and you can definitely have the game wrapped up within about an hour, but replayability comes in the form of achievements obtained through completing different tasks, and I personally found it to be a little simplistic, but it's not without its challenge. I feel that this one would serve you well as a little time filler game, and the game is permanently priced at under $1, so not a bad price to pay for the gameplay on offer. Mechstermination Force is our next title today, which comes to us as a viewer suggestion from Matt Young, so be sure to drop a comment with your own recommendations for a chance to have them featured in future episodes. This one though comes from the creator of Gunman Clyde and Super Punch Patrol, and is essentially a run and gun boss rush game which Matt best described as Contra meets Shadow of the Colossus, and he's definitely not wrong there, as the bosses in this one are absolutely massive. Setting off out from your home base though, you're given a couple of missions to select from, and then off you go. One man and his gun against a towering mass of metal and weaponry. And each boss comes with its own unique mechanics for you to contend with many of them having multiple phases for you to battle through. But the basic concept involves learning their attack patterns, identifying the weaknesses, and then fighting your way towards and destroying red energy cores. There are often multiple cores for you to destroy, and you'll usually be clambering all over the beasts in order to reach them, which is no easy task. The game is quite challenging, but not so much that things become frustrating. And overall the mechanics of the bosses seem really well thought out, though the difficulty curve is a little bit inconsistent. As you progress through the game though, you'll also unlock new equipment which introduces new mechanics, such as magnetic gauntlets which allow you to cling to surfaces, and you'll also earn cash allowing you to buy new weaponry and additional heart containers. The game has a total of 14 bosses for you to take down though, which can be replayed to earn additional cash, and these can be tackled in both single player and 2-player cooperative mode, so it's potentially a great one to play alongside a friend. And the only real issue that I encountered was with the jumping and general control scheme, which takes a little getting used to, but overall, Mechstermination Force feels like a solid pick for fans of the genre, and it's regularly on sale for under $2. Up next then we have Akane, or Arcane, however you want to pronounce it, a fast-paced arena arcade slasher where the objective is to take out as many Yakuza as possible using a combination of ranged and melee weaponry. The kicker here though is that one hit and it's all over. Now, the control scheme takes a bit of getting used to, but it essentially sees you running around using the left thumbstick, attacking with the X button and tapping L to perform an evasive dodge manoeuvre that you're going to get plenty of use out of. Holding ZL then lets you pull out your ranged weapon, which leaves you stationary and is again aimed using the left thumbstick, so there's no twin stick shooting mechanics in this one, but your melee attacks consume stamina which recharges over time, while your ranged ammo decreases with each shot and is recharged by performing melee kills, so there's kind of a bit of a juggling act to be done as you switch back and forth between the two. Now, things can get pretty hectic and crowded, so to help you out, chaining your attacks together builds an adrenaline bar seen at the bottom of the screen, which then allows you to kill multiple enemies with a long-range dash attack in exchange for a single bar, while expending 3 full bars activates a screen-wide execution, killing everything in sight. And it's only by combining your melee and ranged attacks, dodges, as well as these special moves that you'll actually survive, as it's a tough little one this thanks to the one-hit kills. There are boss fights to be had, although I've only actually managed to beat the first one, and alongside the standard Yakuza grunts you have big meatheads who will punch your face in if they grab you, and these infuriating ranged enemies, whose bullets can be blocked or dodged but whom I often died to, so some nice variety enemy wise. Lastly, aside from the arcade score chasing aspect, there are also challenges to complete, which unlock new equipment and weaponry for you to deck yourself out with, each of them providing their own bonuses and offering different styles of play. Overall though, Akane is that type of ridiculously addictive arena game which just begs one more play. It has some tight skill-based combat and a considerable level of challenge to it. It also has some awesome pixel art with a whole 80s neon vibe going on, and the animations are nice and gory, and I'd say it fits perfectly as both a time filler title and one to play for extended periods of time, and it goes on sale every month for under $2. Our penultimate game then today is going to be Knights and Guns, a game which I previously reviewed on the channel, and one whose gameplay is inspired by the classic Pang or Buster Bros game, albeit with a modern twist to it, with you playing as medieval knights armed to the teeth with machine guns, lasers, shotguns, grenade launchers and sniper rifles. Gameplay though takes on a very similar format to these games, with the basic principle having you taking out monsters by shooting directly upwards. These monsters come in a bunch of different shapes and sizes, with the most basic bouncing back and forth across the screen and splitting into smaller versions when you shoot them, but there are a ton of different variants of these, as well as Gallagher style flying enemies, and in total I believe there are over 25 standard enemies, as well as 5 mini bosses and 3 main bosses. As opposed to you just playing through levels one after another though, in Knights and Guns you navigate a grid-like world map, allowing you to complete levels in whatever order you see fit as you work your way through the story, which in itself isn't bad either. And the levels themselves actually bring plenty of variety, with each featuring unique scenarios for you to work through, as well as coming in a bunch of different shapes and sizes, and I believe there are around 120 levels, so there's a reasonable amount of content in the game. Progression wise, there are plenty of unlocks for you to work towards, including new artwork, music tracks and weapon and armour purchasable from the in-game shop with the gold you earn, and the whole game can be played in 2-player co-op mode, which to be honest is probably the preferable way to play it, as it's actually a lot tougher than it looks. All in all though, I'd say Knights and Guns is a great little game and somewhat of a hidden gem, but it does go on sale every month for around $2, and for that price I'd highly recommend picking it up and giving it a go. So rounding off this week's Dollar Deal episode, we have Felix the Reaper, a game which I've been quite interested in for some time now, as I'm a fan of puzzle games and really love the art direction that this one has going on. The game though sees you playing as Felix, a dude who works at the Ministry of Death but is in love with Betty, the maiden from the Ministry of Life, and so armed with some killer dance moves he heads out into the field in the hopes of wooing her with his pirouettes and twerks. In each of the game's 5 stages though, Felix travels to a different time period, and he's basically responsible for ensuring a series of events play out in the correct manner, which ultimately lead to someone kicking the bucket, and the game features some hilariously dark humour with plenty of cartoony gore to have a chuckle at. Gameplay itself revolves around solving puzzles, which generally involve getting an object from point A to point B, but the unique mechanics in this one see Felix unable to walk in the light, and instead he must stick to the shadows, manipulating both the direction of the sun as well as objects and environments to create paths to walk on. And there is some nice variety to these mechanics, which start off relatively simple but become more complex as the game goes on. The puzzles themselves though are quite short, taking around 5 to 10 minutes at most to solve, and once you get the knack of them and learn the tricks, progression is quite rapid, though I will admit there were a couple that had me a little stumped for a while. If you're looking for more of a challenge though, there are a set of restrictions in each level for you to try and adhere to, and on the flip side, if things are too difficult you can also obtain hints, so altogether it's quite an accessible puzzle game, and overall I found it to be pretty enjoyable, if not a little simple at times. But the game goes on sale every month for only a couple of dollars, and for that price I'd say it's well worth a play. And so that about wraps it up for another Dollar Deals episode. So was there anything in this one that tickled your fancy? Of the pick I'd say that Mechstermination Force is my most recommended one, but don't forget to leave your own suggestions down below for what I should feature in future episodes. With that said though, drop a like if you enjoyed this one, be sure to subscribe for more in the series as well as weekly reviews and other Switch content, and as always, thanks once again for watching, take care and game on.